Hello. Hey, what's your question?
Women pursuing a degree and having a partner usually is dissonant. But what about women who acquire both of those things simultaneously?
Say again. What's the
So you have to
question?
talk about. Sorry. Go ahead.
What's the question?
My question is that good or bad? Because often women that like have degrees on your channel, PhDs, masters, you often tell them that like their approach to having a partner is, you know, because of that degree. But what is the problem when they get it simultaneously? Like, is that not okay?
Sounds to me like you're saying that. Do you have a master's or a PhD?
No, I'm currently in school.
Do you have a boyfriend or you have a husband?
Uh, Partners. Yeah, just a partner, a boyfriend. Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand. It almost sounds like you're asking me if you can navigate relationship. Well, first off, a master's or a PhD does not keep non-black women from not getting a husband.
Okay.
So I don't know how you want to package that, but your master's, well, black woman going to get a master's or a PhD should not make it any more difficult, problematic to get a man. But for some strange reason, on this side, it seems to be very problematic, and there are a lot of things that go into that too. And one that's it's not that hard to realize is the weight issue. If you can have a master's or a PhD, yeah, you should be able to find a man as long as you prioritize the relationship as well. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi. Let's try this one again.
Yes,
First,
I do
first
apologize
name.
for my technical difficulties.
Yeah, first name. What do you
Paris,
got? What
I'm
do you
Paris.
got for me?
So I have a disagreement, though I agree with most of the things you say. Um, my disagreement would be as far as the modern day woman is concerned and the propaganda aspect. I don't I'm also 30 years old. I was raised by an elder, and I just feel like propaganda in our community isn't as big as a issue as it is just the upbringing of also our exposure. I feel like
Hold on. Propaganda, whether it comes from Cosmopolitan or whether it comes from TLC, is propaganda.
absolutely, but I feel like the bigger issue is the exposure that we don't have to see married people. Like we all know,
Well, why don't we have that?
I think is more of a socioeconomic thing than
No. Let me make it real clear. Why why aren't black women married?
Well, to each his own. For me, I can only speak for myself. I've
This is
gone.
when y'all start getting real game goofy.
It's
You
not
got
game
all these
goofy,
big
Kevin.
words
It's
before.
not about
Listen,
being
no,
big
no, no,
game.
no, 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 no. You had all these words before, and I ask a direct question. Then it starts to get. I don't want to say something that's going to make women feel a certain way.
No,
Let me give it to you this way. Let me give it to you this way. Don't roll your eyes.
I'm sorry, Kevin Roma. I think it's a delay.
Prior to 1965, when we were broker, less educated, Jim Crowed, and segregated, we had an 80% marital rate. Tell me about the socioeconomic status that prevented black folks from being married then.
Yes, and that's what I was speaking on. I believe back then when we were in the field together, we had more of a reason to stay together. And then when the economic structure changed, the only people that were affected were mostly minorities. And once computers came into place,
Yeah, this makes no sense, ma'am. Computers exist for everybody. What you're not talking about is
not
what you're not talking about is the choice that women make in these relationships. That's what you're not. Every time I've asked a question about women, you've danced. Women
I'm sorry.
choose whether or not they are going to become fit for wives, and women also decide whether to stay or leave relationships.
But as you say all the time, what do you say? We have access to sex, and you guys have access to marriage.
No,
So
we offer marriage. You control sex. We control marriage.
correct. So
But
I
listen. You're confused. And let me help you out.
okay.
80% of divorces in the black community are filed by who?
Women.
That means you were married. Why are 8 out of 10 walking away from marriages when only 1 out of 4 can ever expect to be married?
Because we were brought up, as you say, to be very independent. So we missed that
Right.
class.
And
That
that's,
class
and
wasn't
understand
for the
something.
majority of
That's
us.
your problem as a woman. That's for you and the women to figure out how to become better women, better wives. That's on you. Not the men, not the country, not the media. You and the women that look like you need to figure out how to become better wives to any man you decide that any man to where a man will want to even marry you and then decide to stay in the relationships you have.
Okay, so yeah, so like I said, I do agree that it's a priority that we don't prioritize correctly. But like I said, I just joined the 30 Club, and at this point, I have listened to you enough to know I actively should be actively pursuing, well, at least trying to be pursued.
If that's what you want. But see, what I can't allow is all this. It's really not our fault. I'm not going to allow you women to not take their accountability.
I believe in taking accountability. That's not where I was
But the
coming
answers,
from.
every time I've asked you for an answer for women to take accountability, you just put up the Wonder Woman bracelets. Like, do you want to be married?
Yes.
Do you want children?
I can't. I could or I could not. It's not a deal breaker for me.
Do you want children?
I'd be happy to have some for my husband if that's what he wanted.
Do you want children? See, these are very simple questions. I just ask you, do you want children?
No. Do I want children? No. Would I be
Okay.
okay with having
Okay.
some for my
But
husband?
the question I asked is, did you want them? But see,
No.
let me explain why that was such a big problem. The combative, deflective nature of even just getting a simple answer out of you as a black woman is frustrating to me as a man. Makes me not want to talk to you when I just asked a simple question that I know you understood.
Oh man, Kevin. So it's hard. It's hard out here.
No, you're being difficult. You heard the question. You just chose to be a jerk about it.
I didn't mean to be a jerk about it, Kevin. That was an honest answer.
No,
If I don't
ma'am.
have
I
children,
asked you, did you want children? And the answer was, do I want children? Check yes or check no. Those are the only options I gave you. But you decided to answer it in the question. Well, if my husband wants to have them, I would be open to having them. It was a yes or no question. You made it overly complex.
no,
And
I would
that's a
not have
problem.
children.
That's a problem because men don't like communication like that on a romantic level or non-romantic level.
Well, I don't want to have children out of wedlock.
I didn't ask that.
Okay.
I'm using this as an option. And ladies, understand. If you're watching this, understand this shouldn't be that complicated. She should have been able to answer the question and effervescently move on. But so many black women are used to jostling and jousting with black men and competing with us and being our competition and matching move for move. You're not my equal. We're not on a chessboard.
Okay.
The energy is all wrong here.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't.
I'm talking to the audience.
I like you. I didn't come here to be.
I didn't say you did not like me, ma'am, and I'm not being rude. I'm just saying, okay, ma'am, I just asked you if you wanted children.
So no, Kevin, I would not.
All right. And do you want to be married?
Yes.
All right. Are you seeing somebody seriously?
No, not at the moment.
When was the last serious relationship you had?
2 years ago.
How long did that last?
About 2 years.
Why didn't you guys get married?
I wasn't asked to be married. So it didn't happen. And then I moved on.
He was married. Did he know? Did you want to marry him?
No.
Then, huh?
Well, I can say no now because once the relationship dissolved, and while I was in the relationship, I'm being honest, it was a situationship more than a relationship for sure.
Exactly. And were you in school at the time?
No.
All right. And what about the long relationship you had before that one?
I was in a relationship prior to that for 3 years.
So you have 3 year and a 3 year and a 2 year relationship in your 20s. So 5 years worth of relationships. If I asked the men who you were involved with how they experienced you, what would they tell me?
I would say I would think they would tell you that the experience was great. I still have really friendships
Okay.
with both of them.
So it begs the question, why didn't you and the 3 year guy get married?
I think it just wasn't a priority of mine. It wasn't something I prioritized at that time. I traveled a lot for work, so did he, and as you say, long distance doesn't really work.
All right, but okay, and there we go. You were traveling for work, your degree, or this or that, and you took your prime years. And what I'm asking you was of 3 years and 2 years. It seems that black women tend to have the ones that have relationships, you can have them, but they just end. And there's like no definitive answer why it ended. Where was the process? It's just, we're just doing stuff.
Yeah. I think
and the point is I'm making is that you're in what I call the danger zone. And you're going to have better answers if you ever expect to get the outcomes you want. Because you've taken your 20s and they're gone.
And I agree. I absolutely agree with you, Kevin. At that moment, when I was 19, I had a very high value man that would have been happy to whisk me off and marry me. And I'm sure I would have been living a very different life at this point. But it goes back to why I called. I feel like I didn't have the support from my family at 19.
I don't doubt that. We don't support marriage. Were you raised with your mother and father?
No, I was raised by my grandmother.
We don't. Our family, our community does not support relationship. More likely than not, people will tell you to leave and go do your career and everything else because women actually in our community think that's what makes you safe. And it's not. It's not what makes you safe. It's what ends up.
I'm a PhD.
And I'm not, I was never a scholar. Like I said, I went to school, I finished, but that wasn't why, I wouldn't say that was the reason. I wasn't, trying to get a PhD or anything like that.
That's not the point I was making. But thanks for... let me give it to somebody else. Thanks for calling in.
All right, thank you.
I don't think that most sisters understand how it should not be stressful to talk to a woman that I'm not involved with. Let me just be honest. I had a sister call in on Instagram, and she changed the entire energy of all the calls. She's a Muslim sister. Because she came in completely in her feminine, and it was a completely different call. I don't think many of you sisters understand how you come across to people you're not even involved with, especially when it's a brother. It's like the first, even the black man you like, you're still in a defensive kind of, it's too much.
Guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. I mean, summarizing this whole video, I think it has exposed so many things about our black women. The key factors here is the things that are keeping our women mostly single. It's just the simple fact that they are non-agreeable. Let's agree to that. And also combative, right? And one thing most people don't pay attention to is low level of understanding. A communication that is supposed to be simple. And I think the brothers that are watching this video, most of you can attest to this thing that I'm talking about. You're talking about something simple, something that just demand yes or no answer, and they just dance around it. And it is something that men find very repulsive, especially in our community, our black men. I mean, there is so much pressure on us. So coming home to come and have conversation that just yes or no answers, I can't get it from you, then I'll keep you moving. So that is the problem right there. He just asks you, will you like to have kids? Yes or no? She couldn't just answer it that way. She has to say, if my husband wants it, then I would. I mean, what does that have to do with the question? It's about what do you want, not what would you and your husband want. So this simple question that could have been just that she could have just given a simple answer, she just could not give it. And that is one red flag about all women, and they don't know, and nobody sit them down to tell them these things. And talking about she was 19 and she didn't have her family backing to get married or something like that, I will say it's just another bullshit our women mostly use to absolve themselves from accountability. Let me just keep it real. You are 19 years old, right? If you are 17 years old, we can have a different conversation. But from 18 going, you are an adult. You are responsible for your life and whatever outcome that you get. So telling me that at 19, your parents didn't help you is just absorbing yourself from accountability. That's how I'll just keep it. I mean, just if I'm being honest, that's what it is. You could have gone in for marriage if you wanted it. They couldn't do anything about it. So right now that you are at this age and you are single, what are they doing about it? If you tell us they are the reason why you are single right now, I mean, then go and hold them accountable for not having a husband right now. Because you are in need of husband. Let's keep it real. These women, they mostly, I mean, they are in need of husbands. They will come try to pretend like they don't need husbands. That's not true. It's coping. It's coping. But they'll, it is what it is. It's a problem. It is a problem. It's headache. Men don't like to just talk about something. I mean, something as simple as, will you like to eat? Yes, no. Then it all depends. That is bullshit. Will you like to eat? Yes. No. That's how men communicate. But when they just try to frustrate us with these type of answers. And it is sad, man. Guys, thanks for watching. And as usual, if you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned until we meet in the next one. Peace. I'm out.